Yes, but everyone wants to be in the final at Indy, and, first we thought Gainesville was the greatest. Nothing could top that because of the old man. Then, nothing could top Columbus because of the style we wanted, a lot of style. Then we went to Indy, and that would have to be the greatest race of my life. It will always be the biggest thrill I've ever had in racing.
And Kalita didn't give up easily, did he?
No, he deserved everything that he got that day, and if I had blinked, he would have won the race. But as it goes, we happen to come out on top.
And as we speak, there's a motion picture company here at Orange County creating or recording the life story of Shirley Muldowney, a movie on your life.
And they're having a lot of fun doing it, too. They got to know a lot about the sport before they actually went into the project, and that was good for them. And all the racers, everybody involved in the sport has been very cooperative, and I'm very thankful for that. It proves one thing. We have a lot of friends here.
You bet you do. And the name of this film is Heart Like a Wheel. That's appropriate, because this lady's got a lot of heart.
A great retrospective, Steve, and why don't I ever get the kisses? Maybe the booth all the time.
Here's round one action. This is the Cheap Auto 711 car in the near lane with Trip Shoemaker, Phoenix, Arizona at the wheel.
And Tim Gross in the Datsun 280 ZX bodied car. Gross transplanted from California to Michigan and now back in California again. For Trip Shoemake, he is driving a team car. There's actually two of these cars, one driven by Billy Meyer, the other by Trip Shoemake.
Trip Shoemake in the Ford EXP bodied car that is actually Billy Meyer's new car for '83. Meyer is using Trip Shoemake as a blocker here, hoping that Trip can get to Frank Hawley and Don Prudhomme early in the going.
And if so, that will allow Billy Meyer to move into that Winston World Champion title. It gets rather complex because there are four drivers who are capable of winning it at this event.
Trip Shoemake here in the tower lane, and Trip Shoemake is away first. Trip Shoemake with far more power than that of the Datsun car of Tim Gross. It is Trip Shoemake getting there at a beautiful 583. 232 miles an hour. So the little rented driver from Phoenix, Arizona, so far doing the job he was hired to do by Billy Meyer.
And that is winning the race and advancing into the next round. Eventually, he will have to match up against one of those drivers that is in the chase for the Winston World Champion title.
Beautiful funny car here in the near lane as the 82 Camaro body goes down over the chassis of Bruce Iverson. Iverson's from Southern California. He is up against Salt Lake City's Garth Whittison, and both of these are really kind of unknown quantities. They seldom really qualify for national event competition. Look at this beautiful Camaro, David.
This low-slung car surprised everybody by running in the 5-second bracket in qualifying and moved up into the upper half of the field. In other words, cars 1 through 8. And shuffled the field around a little bit right at the very end of qualifying, and that surprised everybody.
The funny cars accomplishing their tires, smoking, ground, pound, and burnouts. One thing that has made them so popular with fans all over the country. They use essentially the same kind of nitro-burning engine as we saw in Top Fuel, except here the engine is in front of the driver. They're a much shorter wheelbase, plus they have the fiberglass replica bodies draped over the sophisticated chassis. You're looking at $60,000, $70,000 worth of rolling drag racing stock here.
Garth Whittison driving the Battlestar car. There can't be that many funny cars in the state of Utah, Steve.
I believe he's the only competitive one, David.
Well, he is very competitive because he just left Bruce Iverson sitting in the blower, comes apart. Something comes off of the car of Bruce Iverson, and Garth Whittison wins the race. Whittison coming in with an elapsed time of 6:43, not competitive by any stretch of the imagination.
Here is the car that has the lead for the World Championship. The Chi-Town Hustler. Frank Hawley for Pat Minnick out of Chicago, Illinois. Garth Whittison being pushed off the racetrack down at the far end. But Frank Hawley, who has won, 3 national events so far this year?
He'll be racing against Al Segrini. Segrini, winner of the Winter Nationals, the first race of the year, has got his work cut out for him because Frank Hawley has been on a roll all season long. Everybody said this is basically an exhibition car. They can't make it through a whole series and season of competitive racing, but look at this.
Yeah, everybody said they don't have enough money, enough parts. Al Segrini, now that's one of those $250,000 18-wheelers. Segrini over in the far lane. The Chi-Town car has an old ramp-back truck with about 500,000 miles on it, but the young Canadian driver, Frank Hawley, has done a tremendous job. Austin Coyle setting his driver here in the near lane. They feel they've won the World Championship, but they're just not counting their chickens quite yet.
He pulls away from Al Segrini. Frank Hawley increases his lead in the middle of the course. Segrini's engine goes away, and Frank Hawley wins it.
At 5.93 seconds, 241 miles an hour, Frank Hawley picks up some badly needed points to hold off Billy Meyer and the Snake.
The eliminations in a drag racing program are in single elimination style, like a basketball tournament. If you win, you advance to the next round. And here's the man everybody's been waiting to see, the quickest funny car in the history of drag racing, Don the Snake Prudhomme in the near lane.
Earlier in our telecast, you saw the Snake melt the Pepsi Challenger from last year. Here is Frank Hawley coming out of the car. He was very nervous young man going into round one. Now maybe some of those butterflies will go away as the helmet of the mask comes off.
Our Diamond B camera is right on top of the action for Don Prudhomme. He had the most incredible time of his life at Indianapolis at the U.S. Nationals with a 5:63 elapsed time. He is racing the Pisano car. Joe Pisano is the car owner. Craig Epperly, the driver, here at the World Finals out of Downey. And look at Prudhomme go.
Oh, Prudhomme is laying one down as getting very close to the rail was Craig Epperly. It is Don Prudhomme at a 6.03, 241 miles an hour. Prudhomme picks up another 200 valuable Winston points. He's still got a backdoor shot at this world title.
And for Prudhomme, I'm sure he's not going to be happy with the performance. The car left the starting line very well, but it certainly didn't perform in the middle of the course as he expected it to do.
This is Raymond Beadle, who at the close of this event will have to scrape that number one off the side of his famous Blue Max and give it to somebody else, either Hawley, Billy Meyer, or Prudhomme. He's up against Gary Bergen, who was in the final round for the event title here a year ago when Big Jim Dunn won that event. Now, Raymond Beadle, the three-time national champion, is not going to make it four in the English Leather Ford EXP. Had a lot of problems. He flipped the car early in the year, then burned one to the ground, and they never quite caught up again.
Raymond coming back into the performance style, though, that he has been accustomed to in the last couple of races and has moved very well in qualifying here at the World Finals. For Gary Bergen, he was a finalist at the U.S. Nationals in the finals and, in fact, won that event a few years ago and would love to shut down Raymond Beadle right now. Boy, this is a close race. At the finish line, it is the Blue Max of Raymond Beadle winning it with a 6.05 second elapsed time. Bergen's losing time, a 6:11.
Both of them at about 238 miles an hour. Actually, Bergen at 237. So Bergen was in that one all the way against the Blue Max.
But for Raymond Beadle, a chance to move up another round and possibly take home the event title here at Orange County International Raceway.
As we continue with round one of funny car action, here's a man that's got them all shaking their heads. David, this is Ken Vaney of Wadsworth, Ohio. His first year of nitro funny car racing. After many years with an alcohol car, he has set the national speed record at 254 miles an hour. He'll be up against the black car in the far lane, Little John Lombardo, who's a terror here all summer long at OCIR.
Out of North Hollywood, California, Lombardo is one of those 5-second funny cars that doesn't travel a whole lot. He stays around home, and there's some problems on the starting line. Look at this. They're backing Ken Vaney up. They're checking something, and he says, okay, bring it up and stage again. That's Starter Buster Couch directing the action. The starting system itself, electronically controlled and operated. All the starter does is throw a switch. A great lead for Lombardo, but boy, look at the horsepower of Ken Vaney as he just blows by Little John to a 6:08 elapsed time, 238 miles an hour.
Little John Lombardo at a 6:41. It's a good thing Vinny had all that power because he was very late up the starting line. He's only made 15 runs in a nitro-burning funny car. Not quite comfortable yet.
Certainly the talk of the nitro-burning contingent is Ken Vaney, and I know some of the other racers are starting to run Ken Vaney components and complete engines.
Back at the starting line. As funny car competition continues, this is Billy Meyer. We saw his teammate earlier, Trip Shoemake, survive round one. Meyer can only hope that he will do the same. As Frank Hawley is still in the program. Billy Meyer trying to drive around Hawley in the point standings with this, the Pontiac-bodied 711 Chief Auto car. Meyer from Waco, Texas, started funny car racing at 16.
Our defending champion here at the Winston World Finals, this is Big Jim Dunn out of Long Beach, California, a fireman, as noted on the West Coast for driving practically anything. The only man ever to win a national event driving a rear-engine funny car. That came years ago, and today I don't think it's going to be his day as Billy Meyer pulls ahead and wins it defeating Jim Dunn in this first round of action with a 5:99 elapsed time.
And big Jim Dunn, always there as he was this time, 6.05. Even though Dunn has very little to work with, he was still right there all the time. If Meyer made a mistake, he'd have got him.
Kenny Bernstein and our final pair of funny cars in the first round of action against the man you saw that burned it down a year ago, Gary Dencham. Here's Billy Meyer getting out of his car. He also still in the chase for that Winston World Championship title. Kenny Bernstein actually not in the hunt for the points championship, but he'd sure love to win the event title. Here's the teacher's pet car. He is a teacher, by the way. Teaches school, Gary Dencham.
And this was the driver we showed you earlier in the first one of those 3 fires. He back with a beautiful car. Now Bernstein is on a roll right now. He won the Golden Gate Nationals just a few weeks ago in the San Francisco Bay Area after a ragged early season. Bernstein is back with tremendous performance.
Bernstein and Dencham, and look at Bernstein. He is not to be headed in any way in this race as Bernstein crosses the finish line first.
With low ET of eliminations at 5.93 seconds, 246 miles an hour, to Gary Dencham's very game 6:15, 233.
So that concludes our first round of racing in Funny Car Eliminator, and we still have those 4 competitors in the thick of it for the Winston World Champion title as Frank Hawley leads in the points. Billy Meyer doing his best to try to catch him. Where we are now is back on the starting line as number 2 in the world last season, Gary Beck, comes up to race against Terry Kapp. We're into round number 2 racing at the Winston World Finals in Top Fuel Eliminator. Steve, let's find out why Terry Kapp isn't running.
There's nothing more frustrating for a drag racer than to be sitting here in the pits with a broken car when his competition is up there making a burnout, and that's what happened to you and Gary Beck. What happened exactly to you?
Well, Steve, what had happened is first round we raced Doug Kerhulis, and during the wet burnout, when I applied the brakes to stop, we broke this brake caliper off, and it jammed in between the rotor and the wheel.
So then this wedged into the wheel, pulled the motor down and hurt the engine?
It got into the wheel about center track, and it pulled the motor down so hard we detonated a couple of rods and we blackened the crank. So consequently, we won the race, but we hurt the crank to the point where we'd have to replace the motor, and we just weren't in the position to do that at this point in time.
Gary Beck got a gift, but I understand he offered to loan you a motor to race him with.
You bet. Larry Miner was the first guy over here and says, "What happened?" I says, "We broke a brake." He says, "Well, you fix your motor, I'll get you a new one." He came back with a new brake, and I says, "Hey, we blackened the crank." He says, "I got 2 on the floor. You want one? You come and get it. You put your stuff on top, and we'll race you." I says, "Thanks, but we'll give you the single."
And that is a big break in a highly competitive race such as this one. The Winston World Finals, and Gary Beck here in round number 2 gets an easy go. But will he take it easy, Steve?
I don't think he will, Dave. Lane choice, very important. Now, you saw Beck smoke the tires. He's very good at pedaling the car, getting on and off the throttle very quickly. And he still comes up with a tremendous 5.62 at over 242 miles an hour.
The 5.62 thus far is the quickest elapsed time in eliminations, and Gary Beck smoked the tires off the starting line. This is Connie Kalita. In round number 2 racing, Kalita comes up against Jody Smart out of San Antonio, Texas.
It was Jody Smart who put away in the first round of competition Oregon's Ernie Hall. Now Jody is in the right-hand lane, Kalita here in the tower lane. Kalita is comfortable behind the controls of a Learjet as he is in a Top Fuel dragster. He owns a flying service in the Detroit, Michigan area.
This year already, Connie Kalita finished runner-up at the U.S. Nationals, but he smokes the tires here, and the motor goes away for Jody Smart, but Smart legs it through and takes the win with a very slow 6.03, but it doesn't matter, he got there first. As we watch again, you see they're fairly closely matched within a few feet, but there the smoke starts, indicating a loss of traction.
And I'm sure Jody Smart kept waiting for Kalita to come around him, unknowing that the tires were just blazing on Kalita's car. And Jody Smart appears to have a little oil running out of his machine as well.
As you saw the motor go away for Jody Smart as he came towards the finish line. This is Jim Bernard, the Northwind car out of Oregon, rolling out of the water and then smoking those tires on the burnout as every car does in competition.
He will be up against in the far lane Jim Head of Dublin, Ohio. This is Jim Head. He's a graduate engineer, has experimented with computers mounted on this car, David. I don't know if they're there today or not.
And Jim Bernard, as we told you earlier, has been campaigning throughout the year on all of the NHRA national event sites and has done exceptionally well.
Now, Jim Head is the first to pre-stage. You see in the right lane. Now, Bernard with the top yellow light on. Bernard is ready, and Head is ready.
The light goes green, and it is Jim Head streaking away from the starting line. Head with almost 0.2 of a second advantage off the starting line, and folks, that's what's called a hole shot.
But, as you can see, it was Jim Bernard had the power to come from behind at 591, 234 miles an hour. He is going to have to tune up his starting line reflexes for sure.
Our final pair already fired in this second round of racing as the crowd coming to their feet to watch the new Winston World Champion here in the near lane, Shirley Muldowney, square off against Joe Amato.